I wondered what you thought to messages from beyond the grave. So it's just like, as in, uh, it seems something like that, where I'm usually quite an auditory processing person. So it's just like, I would get in a dialogue and as thoughts, and they come and go, etc., etc. But on persistent thoughts, like for example, I got Advaita Vedanta coming over and over again in my head, and very clear, very concise, and it's like, constantly, and it seemed different from other thoughts. So I know that that could be a product of uh, any type of like sort of meant or not meant hypnosis during my life or whatever, but it just seemed particularly significant. And I just wondered what you thought to it, as it being an indicator to go and do enlighten yourself this way rather than that way, like a
What was the
Dzogchen
thought you
type of
had?
thing.
The thought was Advaita
Yeah,
Vedanta.
it just came. Yeah, it was just that sentence over and over again. So what I decided to do, I decided to get some books by Dennis Waite. I don't know if you know the guy, and Easy Vedanta, Easy Advaita, etc., things like that, and just to go into it that way, to
And what's
try
your
and,
question?
sorry.
What's your question?
So the question is, what do you think to that way of, um, uh, it came over and over again to me, and would you say that's some sort of valid sign that I should go and do that? Does that make sense?
What do you think?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
I might be rolling on a little bit, but it's just like, I don't know. It's just something that I felt I needed to ask for, like, some sort of clarification. I don't know why.
So I met a wonderful teacher. She actually lived at my house in Chiang Mai for a while,
Yeah.
called Annie Zamba, and she's a Tibetan nun, and um, she was great. It was like having a little Yoda living at the house. It was she's got a little cane and she's got very difficult to walk and stuff, but she was full of wisdom. And I once said to her, I said, "Isn't it great? Dzogchen is the greatest teaching ever, isn't it?" And she's a Dzogchen teacher, and she said, "No, it's not." I said, "What do you mean?" I goes, "It's the best ever." She goes, "No, it isn't. It's whatever you want to. It's whatever someone's drawn to. Every single person has a karmic connection to a teaching, a teacher, a lineage. They'll find it because they'll know. And when they do, they can enjoy that." And she goes, you're clearly very, very drawn to the Dzogchen teachings, because that was the real shift for me. And I did it through text, not even
Mm.
having an original teacher. And that blew my mind because she spent 50 years studying Dzogchen. So if you're having this appearance to explore these teachings, then go with it. That
Mm.
what I would like, I am quite a mixed bag because I teach from everything. Like I'm changing the name of what I'm doing now to the absolute from my personal name, and because it just
Right.
feels that I'm incorporating everything, and that's what I like to do. I like Advaita Vedanta. I think it has a very powerful place. They all end up at the most refined levels of these teachings. They all end up at the same place. It's
Yeah.
more of what's the gateway in. But if you're having these tendencies to follow that and do it, the one thing that I would probably say is jumping around in very short amounts of time can be not as helpful. So I've been studying this now since 2004, maybe a bit before, and I spent a good few years. Like, I didn't jump around. I've studied most lineages, but I spent a good few years with each one,
Mm.
and that is I've really enjoyed that. But some people have had just as much of a fruition, just one lineage that they like. So there really isn't any one way. Just whatever you feel um, feels more beneficial, and it's hard for anyone to tell you what that is. I think that looking at the track record, it's a really bad word to use, but I would say that this direct approach of awakened awareness that I spoke about in the beginning, that is based on a Dzogchen approach, which has probably had the greatest success because of the Tibetans. So there's Rinpoches that have awakened 100,000 people. You know, this is a really powerful because it's so precise and it just cuts. But Advaita Vedanta, hundreds of thousands of people have awoken through that. So it's just whatever you prefer. Some people, they love the Buddhist path, which is a very slow, drawn out path of meditation, different types of meditation, and unlocking powers within meditation that goes on and on and on. 84,000 teachings, right? That's not for me, but I appreciate it. So it's
Yeah,
just what.
you see, yeah. Sorry, the thing is that I'm at a Buddy Center at the moment, and we're just going through that, looking at Advaita Vedanta, and also I want to look at the Dzogchen as well. So you said jumping about within a short space of time. I don't necessarily want to like sort of do that, but I wonder what you thought about the benefits of going taking
Okay,
them all
so
side by side and having the capacity to do
right,
that.
they both end up at the same place.
Yeah.
Advaita Vedanta focuses on non-self. Dzogchen focuses on non-anything. So Advaita Vedanta, who is the one who knows? Who is the one who is suffering? So suffering is the space between object and subject.
Yeah.
So that's object, that's subject. So that's me, that's the thing. I'm going to use the famous pizza. so so the self me wants the pizza but doesn't want the pizza and is craving the pizza but feels stressed by that pizza.
I've done that
Advaita
before.
Vedanta says, who is the one who's craving,
Yeah.
right? Dzogchen says, what is there to crave?
Yeah. Got you. Yeah.
Then it quickly says, and where is the craver? You see, that's all the difference is. And for me, I mean, I'm really have been really getting into a lot of Advaita Vedanta in the last few years, but only because I just find that really interesting as well. But for me, the poetry of awakened awareness ignites something in me.
Mm.
People love the deep self-inquiry
Yeah.
of
Me too.
Advaita
Yeah.
Vedanta. Who is the one watching? Like Advaita Vedanta is to really look at the self. Like, what is it that one of the teachers, I can't remember who, but they just say focus on Nisargadatta, focus on I am.
Mm.
I can never say the teachers' names that have more than 4 syllables, but it's Nisargadatta or something like that. I know you know who I mean. He is
Yeah.
from the
Yeah.
I am.
I do.
Spend as much time as you can just focusing on the sense of I am.
Yeah, I think it's the Dzogchen that like sort of appeals to me as a person, as the direct path, but also the other side is just like sort of seems to be a little bit deeper. You know what I mean? As in, but
Yeah.
it's not. I know it's not deeper, but it's
But what
it's
you're
it's
helping
more
me
direct.
what
Yeah,
you're helping me understand as I'm talking is that there's more of a see. I'm not actually a Dzogchen teacher, or a Advaita Vedanta teacher. So, and that's certainly not a scholar. That's not my
yeah,
skill. So, everything I say is just about my version of it. So there might be differences. I wouldn't go into a debate with a Dzogchen scholar or an Advaita Vedanta scholar. But
mm,
what I will say is this: is that Advaita Vedanta, for me, represents a practice. It's a different sort of
mm,
practice where I ask, who am I?
mm,
I don't ask that with Dzogchen. When it comes to how I interpret Dzogchen, it is an insight. It might be something like the vista of this appearance is luminous and free. All appearances that are arising in this moment self illuminate and self resolve in the here and now. They leave a wake of awareness that has no substance and never became anything at all. It's the non crystallization of life itself in each moment. So, so that's how when I work with my version of the direct approach with Dzogchen, it's the description of Rigpa is my liberation. When it's very difficult to suffer, let's say you have an argument over someone stole your lunch at work from the fridge,
Right.
and you interpret that as this moment is the blazing, shining forth of the entire universe's wisdom, liberating as whatever is appearing. There are no others. There's just a seamless heave ho of the here and now. And Bob's going, "Did you take my yogurt?" Like, it's it's impossible to engage. But at the same time, with Advaita Vedanta, you feel yourself being angry for being accused, and you can just look and say, "Who is the one
Right.
who's being
Right.
accused?"
I've got a good. That's a good explanation. Actually, that resonates. But yeah, it's good.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, everyone. We're going to
Nice
leave it
one.
there.
Thank you.